We are clearing any unwanted or disruptive energy from the space so that we can actually deliver the messages to Talia Brava that she deserves, because I have some news for our resident doomoonitrix that is going to actually switch her into submission. Let me get her on. So what we're going to look up, and now forgive me because I'll tell you in a second, but I had a real Mercury retrograde tech moment, and I'll tell Talia too.
Oh my God, I'm so not wet for tech moments. Tell me about it.
I almost want to wait because I know that there will be content coming out about it. I heard about your session with the moon, basically, and in my session with the moon, she ended up doming me too, is what I want to say.
Oh, boo. But don't you dom me all the time? I really do feel like your alter as the moon. She is in control of you. I wouldn't even call it, that's why it's like not really your alter, boo. She's really like, she possesses you.
Well, I'm very confused about it because I guess I'm not confused about it, but you know, I have to trust in the divine nature of things. But you know, I guess if Sarah's possessed by the moon, she sometimes, you know, engages in high risk behavior.
Oh, girl, she do. She's
And
always been doing that since the beginning of I've known Sarah, middle school, like raggedly running for office, like just putting out there, you know.
that's so funny, right? Like, right. Well, I'm jappy, but I'm scrappy, you know, and so I really do get in there. I get into the dirty details and try to really do my best work, right?
And she's got t-shirts for days. Jabbie but scrappy. We know that's the line. That's the clothing line. I want the board jumpsuit.
We're doing merch. We're doing merch. Okay.
Okay, boo. So you got 20 hot fucking minutes to talk about and make me just like come for Asteroid. I've been at rocks before, but
that's a teaser for what happened to my technology. But you can hear me now, okay?
Hello, Marguerite. Yes, we hear you so crystalline and you're sparkling. Don't tell me it's a filter. I don't want to know.
No, it's not. This is just me.
Love.
So I gotta tell you, your chart's really interesting when I look up. So asteroid astrology is the study of certain like mythological, or I mean, you can there's a Sarah asteroid. You know, there's asteroids. There's a huge database of asteroids that you can look up, and when you start to play with the asteroids, you see that the asteroids can help you fill in certain pieces of your natal storyline in ways that just like the planets that we've come to know and love, God bless them, they're the big ones, but they sort of are all, number one, rooted in a very masculine mythology.
Yes.
So the storylines are very, you know, when we think about God, when we think about Mars and Venus, we're thinking about war either way, right? So
they'd all be canceled. They'd be canceled immediately. Keith Raniere locked them up, right? They'd all be there.
It really isn't inclusive. It isn't inclusive, but there are too many asteroids to even like study them all. We study a few of them in like basic astro charts. We look at Ceres and we look at Juno, Lilith, whatever. But I'm deep in the asteroid, into the asteroid world. And because I think that when we can actually connect certain storylines, when we see groups of asteroids in our chart, it kind of can connect it to a past life storyline or an ancient memory or lineage, right?
So good. So you're getting access to not just like the big guys, but like also like the whole like Tony Robbins says, like women tell like the flower story, like they go on a walk and they'll tell the story of like I saw this berry was next to that berry, and that's how like we evolved to like tell stories because this is his thing, because we were like berry pickers and the men were like I shot a bull. They're like great, we eat. You know, so Sarah, you actually can elucidate the storyline and what a beautiful way to do it with the asteroids that are these feminine deities.
100%. And first of all, what was that word? Elucidate.
I just made it up. It's not exactly the word.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to use
it.
Let's make sure it's okay. But so I'm going to look at a few different look at your chart in a few different ways. But and we can do what we do in 20 minutes. We can do more later. But when I started to, so what happened with you and the moon was basically, as far as I know, and I guess the episode's coming out later, But apparently you were having an emotional moment and you complained about something, which is that when you talk about the upcoming rapture, you can't seem to do it without a lisp.
Yeah. So when Brava's laughing at my little body, because Brava is a god that I channel, when Brava's laughing at my frail little body, she'll give me this thing where my tongue gets really heavy and I have a lisp like I did when I was a child.
So you always had a lisp?
When I was a child.
Wow. Okay. So the reason this is really fucking interesting to me is that, you know, I always assumed that you knew this because I would have brought it up, I guess, had I known you did not. But when the moon told me that she said to you, you know, blah, 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 you did a lot of inner work, you got to the place where you were able to submit, and then you started actually embracing the lisp. And you were saying Talia's looking down and laughing at your frail little body. Brava. When in fact, I actually think she was trying to get your attention because Talia Brava is not just like a random name. Talia is not a random name. And the fact that it's like Talia about it later, it's like Taco Tuesday. You're not a fucking marketing scheme, but like glad that you know, that's a nice line, right? Talia about
Talia
it.
like it is.
Talia like it is, right? That's very funny. But
yes,
there is an asteroid that is one of Zeus's 9 daughters. Okay, so Zeus and I have to look at how to say her name, but and the goddess Memory, it's like Mim Nim Nim or whatever.
Okay, cute.
Had 9 daughters, who first were all just kind of like samesies, but then as they developed, they actually took on becoming like experts in one of the feminine arts. And they became the muses of Greek mythology, right? So these are the 9 muses of Zeus, of Zeus's temple or whatever. And the goddess of comedy is Talia, but it's spelled with a TH.
Big ass tongue, Talia Brava.
She was actually channeling through. She wasn't trying to make you embarrass yourself. Now, the way it reads is comedy because you are the goddess of. So I can read you a little bit more about Talia, but first I want to talk about it with like in the context of your chart, okay?
I love it. I'm so lit for it. Let's give you 15 on that.
Okay.
Like 15 minutes for this live stream because Boo's got to eat. I'm halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. My therapist, Mary Massara, said to halt when you're halt. So I'm halt. Wait, you get to guess which ones I am. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. And if you're all of them, you're truly halt.
I think I'm all of them too. So we'll do that. We'll eat after this.
That's called a car pileup. If you got all of them, you got a 6-car pileup.
But the comedy. Okay.
I love it. Okay, let's
So
get
first, I looked up where is Asteroid Thalia in your chart?
Oh, so exciting.
So Asteroid Thalia in your chart is at 14 degrees Sagittarius. Now, why is this interesting? Because your descendant is at 16 degrees Sagittarius. So on some level, this asteroid, this rooting energy, isn't necessarily just you. You're a Gemini rising, okay? It actually is your partner. Talia is Lucia's partner. And then you also have remember I was saying asteroid, which is the mother of Talia?
Yes.
Is there at 11 Sagittarius. So it's actually mirroring a lot about Lucia's life. The story of Talia being born is actually what it is, which is like, okay, so let's look at your Scorpio house really quickly. And I just want to say for anyone watching, Talia and I have worked together before, so this isn't like, if you were doing a reading with me, I would break down your chart much slower, but I have 15 minutes and she knows what I'm saying. So
yes. And also like they can fall. Yeah.
So we're here in Scorpio, okay? It's Scorpio season. I told you the Sun and Mercury just met on your Pluto, right around your Pluto-Venus conjunction. And the full moon is literally opposite your Pluto-Venus conjunction with your moon, which in the 12th house represents not only like the collective unconscious, but in everybody's chart, the moon represents your mother. So just speaking in terms of Lucia, we have, well, it's both of your chart, but for this story part, it's Venus, Pluto, so death of the heart over and over in order to rebirth new love and rebirth new everything, right? You are transformation. Then we have Mercury and the Sun also in Scorpio, okay? And so you really are so it's kind of like you transform and then you embody the new. You go through phases, right? But it's all a reaction, similar to what you said in the last live. It's a reaction to what is opposite all of that, which is your moon, which is your mother in Taurus, which is where the full moon is coming up, okay? So your moon in Taurus is opposing all of this heavy Scorpio in your chart, right?
Yes.
Then we have a switch of signs and we enter Sagittarius, which is actually like party. It's kind of like Scorpio is the deep dark transformation. It's like, great, I lost all the weight. Now I'm gonna start eating shit again, right? It's like a little bit like it's the bounce back to that serious Scorpio, right?
Okay.
But you have your Saturn there, which is, to me, when I look at this chart, the first thing I go is like, oh, so you are bound to, and this is all in the 6th house, which is like your daily work, your like daily life. You're bound to being a teacher, a philosopher, a, comedian can be, Sag Gemini is very comedian, right? So your Saturn, which is your karma, your karmic purpose at 9 degrees Sag. Then, similar to in your regular natal chart, then we have that the memory of your mother asteroid, mother of Talia, okay? The birth of Talia. And then on top of that, we have asteroid Talia, 14 degrees Sagittarius.
Okay.
Now, what's really fun too, just for the record, is my ascendant is at 14 degrees Gemini, which means that my descendant asteroid, or my descendant is at 14 degrees Sagittarius, which means it's directly on your Talia, which is why we're here working together. I love Talia, but your work is Talia. So
what does your descendant have to deal with?
Descendant is partnerships and relationships.
Oh,
but
so, Silent marry a Sag?
Well, you will have a Sagittarian. I could see you being with a Sag, but I actually see you being with someone more. I think it's more for you that the relationship is going to be like Sagittarian in nature, and it's going to set you free. The relationship you end up in is really going to set you free, right? But
that's all I want to hear.
But the truth is,
prison me.
Okay, but this is why it's interesting, because actually you are in your divine union because you were here to partner. You were here to break free from your mother.
I feel that
karma, the what you actually have to learn and heal from the past life, 12th house, past life moon. So this is a past life moon issue that is playing out in the form of your mom, and then also the fact that you're like a psychic channel, okay? But you needed a way to figure out how to work with all of that, because that's your karma. That's your Saturn in the 6th house. So 6th house, you have to figure out how to do it.
This is literally what I was elucidating on this last live stream by myself. I was talking about how I tamped down my powers, or Lucia had to tamp down her powers in order to not hurt her mom.
Well, that's why I texted you.
I had to be birthed to free myself.
I texted you right after because I was like, yo, this is the reading. Like, this is what I was, I was sitting at the pool researching this. That's why I'm ready for this conversation, because
right? So
okay.
I'm done.
So actually, here's the thing, right? Because Talia is in the 6th house in your chart, which is extremely close to your descendant, but it's not quite across the line. You actually, like Lucia, like, to me, the distinction now I can make between the charts of Talia and Lucia, right? Because Talia is embodying Lucia's chart, right? It's not Talia's frail little body. Okay. So it's like, the truth is, you had to 6th house Talia, break away from your mother. Then you had to turn yourself into Talia. Then when you really became Talia in your ultimate form, side note, you did call in, Talia is my partner. Talia is on my descendant. Talia is in your 6th house of work. So even though you are partnered with Talia because she's in your descendant house, it's actually like it's if you're going to be in a relationship with Lucia, you need to know about Talia, because Talia's
we actually, our first conversation reuniting was between us two. It's not between you and Lucia. And who knows if I had just shown up as like Lucia, if we would have even vibed on the same loves.
Well, we wouldn't have, because when I knew you as just Lucia, which I've always really liked, I've never had a problem with Lucia, I like Lucia, but I feel like these two, so you're a Gemini rising, okay, which is duality. You have your Chiron, like basically it's, okay, you're 16 degree Gemini rising. Chiron is at 20 degrees where the North Node is right now. So the fate of the collective is pointing directly at your Chiron, which is your ancient wound, but also your superpower. Chiron is the wound, but it's healing, and it's like right now, what's going on in the world has just switched, and your Chiron is lined up with the North Node. So you're going through. This is maybe the first time you ever have a shot at healing. Not because you haven't had a shot, but because it takes time. It's a process, and so you've been doing all of this work.
I heard of a prophetic ass dream. I sent you a voice note as soon as I woke up. I went to bed and I said, "Give me signs, universe. Like, give me some messages in my dreams." I couldn't wake up because I had to rescue my child self from a little compartment in our hometown YMCA. And this bitch had been abandoned and abused by her mother. And she was this beautiful little girl. And when I woke up, I was like, I just saved my child self. And side note, so I have like an autoimmune disorder. I get stomach aches when it's inflamed. And I was holding my stomach all night. Like I was holding my baby self literally in my own uterus. And I slept. I didn't wake up until I had the baby in my hands and I was carrying her out. And she was like, she literally said to me, I just called my mom. My mom just called me a bitch, and she was a baby. She was like, my mom just called me a bitch, so I'm just going to take a nap.
We should do that. There's a sketch.
Yeah, so it's like, I feel like I literally reclaimed the child self that blamed herself for like the way that her mom responded to her. And I went back and I saved her last night.
Okay. So do you remember when, I don't know if you watched the Silver Lake Bachelorette this week, but Sarah told Lucia,
yeah. I'm always watching, yeah.
I know. But Sarah told Lucia that this moment in time for her, for both of you, is activating. So the full moon is on your moon. The sun at that time will be on your Venus-Pluto conjunction. That is the heart, that is your money, that's the divine goddess, and that's death and rebirth. That's your transformation. That's what you're here. What you're here to do. Right? Pluto is like you are unearthing in this life. And it's like where you have weight, but then it's it's sort of like Saturn in the way that it's like you have to figure out how to work with it. But it's like Pluto is the trauma that we have to heal. And it's the power in our chart, right? For better or worse. And it's past life. It's connected. It's far away, right? But it's far away, but it's deep. It's why it's ruled by Scorpio. So you not only are and then your sun and Mercury are also in Scorpio. So your personal planets are all activated. Now it started when we talked, that's why I was like, we got to do Silver Lake Bachelorette, because that day, Mercury and the sun in the sky were meeting with your Pluto, Venus. It was kind of like going like, okay, what are we going to do when it actually gets activated on the full moon? Like, what is the plan? And what I told you was you really need to be paying attention to your dream state right now. And what I've told you this whole time is like, you are actually psychic, because 12th house moon, people with the 12th house moon, if they're conscious of it, they're psychic. People with the 12th house moon that aren't conscious of it might seem fucking crazy. Someone might say she's schizophrenic, but no, you're conscious, and you're conscious of the collective, and you're conscious of the, for the ancestral lineage, of your past, and of the aliens and of Atlantis and of ancient Rome. Like, you kind of know all that, right? But then you started having dreams that were like pretty prophetic. I mean, even the Michael Moore thing, if you watch the whole episode, it comes around. That is why you nailed, no, I'm so needy, but I don't need anyone. That's exactly my problem.
I'm so glad you finally admitted it, because Talia Like It Is was eventually going to Talia Like It Is in a live. Lucia's fine. She's like, I had this idea. It's not. Lucia does this shit where she'll name shit that's real, and then she'll go on lives and be like, I did some self-reflecting, and that was so crazy that I said that. Bitch, you knew what you knew. You said it.
Yeah, but you need to know that Lucia also knows what she's doing. It's not because you're going on lives and you're lying. It's because you're going on lives and you're actually practicing different ways of marketing. And to make evergreen content, you got to pretend that the shit that you channel is shit that you found out, because you're going to show people how to find out for themselves.
Well, I guess what I'll hear in that, which is true, is that like, there's a difference between lying and speaking in ways that don't like make people want to like just like hide, and like you just destroyed somebody's whole like, and that's been a life lesson for Lucia, because like it's true, like I would say things to my mother that would like destroy her, and that's something that children need to learn how to manage, right? Like we have to be aware of how we how we are with each other, and kindness is king. Not for me, but like for Lucia.
Lucia's
Lucia cares about kindness. I care about realness. I guess you could say that's true.
Yeah, but like I think what you're saying is so right. And to think about it a different way, it's not necessarily that like anything's lying. I mean, as long as what you're saying is rooted in the truth, then you can choose how and what to share. I mean, I am share too much. I am talk too much, share too much. And
instead of miscongeniality, let's say non-confidentiality.
But you know what? During this time, this has been the most helpful process of actually learning. Not that I have to say less or not say at all, but it's like if people don't understand what I'm saying, then I lost them anyway, and it doesn't matter how much I have to say. So I actually have to go slow with people so that I have to seduce people. When I'm in real life, it's not as much of a problem because I'm with people that I know and I happen to have a magnetic. But online, it's like nobody knows who I am and nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, it's generous to make yourself understood as a generous act.
Right.
Especially when you've got lit things to say like you do.
Well, okay, so let's go back to your chart really quickly though, because this is really phenomenal, right? So Saturn is your planet of karma, your planet of work. So in your real life, the issue was not the issue, the challenge in disconnecting from your mother, but also using that challenge to make it a part of your work, which is actually, you've been teaching alter ego since before we were online. I mean, you really have, you know?
In the homes, in the home.
in the homes, 100%. And yeah, to be fair, when I reconnected with Lucia, it was only because of you.
Yes, because I'm bald.
A lot of the relationships you're in are only because of
you. 1,000%. It actually makes, like, sometimes Lucia gets jealous. She's like, oh, but you're only, like, interacting with Talia. Like, what about me? And it's like, yeah, bitch, you're, like, less interesting.
Well, I think what you're getting at is an interesting thing within, like, look, I also have a full moon chart. So you and I both have full moon charts. That's why it's cool that this is a full moon. And then also, right, okay, so this is a full moon chart. When you are a person who is born under a full moon, you are constantly feeling the opposition, right? The sun and the moon are opposite each other, of your identity and your mother. There's really, that is
literally all day.
But as Talia, you are not, not to whatever, but meaning isn't totally on your case anymore. You're actually on the same side. So even though, like, I could read it chronologically, like the story of this karma is, but then it's not like if Minion was actually where your moon was, I would be like, ooh, we are in some like real ancient battle. But in this one, like, Mother has submitted. Mother has actually recognized that you are different and you are you and you are accepted.
And she finally fucking has. I mean, she came to my live event. She said, literally, quote unquote, she said it was mildly traumatizing to see my live performance. There's a man, spoiler, because live performance doesn't exist anymore. At the end, a man sucks on my tits. Like, he becomes my baby, and it's beautiful, and he sucks my tits.
That is absolutely hysterical, dude.
Mildly traumatic. But you know what? Only mildly. I think in the past, she would have been like, I'm traumatized. And now I'm crying, like, with a Valium. But now she's like, I'm mildly traumatized. I'm going to go to trauma therapy, talk about it. I'm fine. Like, she's done her work.
I mean, that is part of what your work is here too. Like, you're actually using Talia to not only heal yourself and to usher us all into a new era where you're so right about what you said on that live stream, which is like, if you don't think that you're curating your personality to the public already, we got news for you. I'm not just sitting on my couch. I came outside because it's pretty.
So look.
Sometimes I'm inside on my couch.
Sometimes you wear a visor. Sometimes you wear sunglasses. You curate.
Right.
Right?
Well, even like before I was ever doing tons of stuff online, I wear like no accessories. I wear black. I do like one necklace at a time to like remind myself of what phase I'm in. And like, that's really it. Like, for me to have as many like accessories as I do is only because I'm not in the room with people. So I have to use it to perform. I mean, I do have visors and I do have looks. I do have looks, but I don't like want to collect sunglasses. It's just like, you know what? It actually makes me feel better now because it's like what I'm wearing instead of, my new set.
She's an LLC of a production company. She's an LLC of a production company. My darling, like,
anyway,
do we have like 5 more minutes?
Okay.
I want to like give all the tea on this asteroid shit.
Well, and we can talk about it more. Later. But what I would like to now say though is that on your moon, you do have an asteroid. So your moon is your inner self, your emotions, whatever. Now let's take a look at what this asteroid represents. Now I had to look it up because I'm not familiar with like the less cool asteroids, which is already a bad sign. But now, like I'm saying, your relationship with your mother is represented in your moon in many ways. It also is your connection to the collective. It also is your connection to your past lives. It's your connection to, so here's the asteroid that's by your moon. Oh my God, lol. It's one of your sisters, one of the other 9 muses. Euterpe. Euterpe? Somebody tell us how to say it. Muse of song, music, and oh my God, you're gonna die. Wait, muse of song, music, and what is this word? Elegiac poetry.
I'm so about it. I've
But
never
it's
heard.
linked to music. I did that workshop with your mom, and her big share was a poem linked to music.
Yeah.
And let me throw this in there. Here's your healing homework for Lucia, because I know that you're not really dealing with bridge, but what you need to tell Lucia is, you're right. Your mom is not your authority figure. Your mom is your sister.
I believe it. That's real. That's written in this chart.
It's written in, well, it's my interpretation of it, because it's actually like the, and it's almost like you're in the sky. Now I'm thinking about it. You have Talia and like Meminin, the mother, which is memory, in the same place in your chart in Scorpio. You're actually super triggering. Your mother is wounded by way of, she was an like whatever. I need to look up what that word is, but she's a poet, which is poetry written for the form of singing.
Literally, she always says, I should have been an Irish singer. And we're like, who the fuck are you? What are you talking about?
Word looks Irish. I cannot pronounce the word, but it looks Irish. IGLive or whatever.
Full Irish, but from Jersey, and she doesn't sing very fucking well. But she's always been like lamenting that she wasn't like an Irish folk singer living in Ireland.
And then we did the workshop with her. That was like my introduction to her. She sang, and it was so funny because she's like, it'll be short. And it was like
a Gaelic poem. Like she basically wrote a Gaelic poem to music.
She literally wrote a Gaelic poem to music, and then like that was her big breakthrough, and that was her child self showing through. And it's like, I'm looking at the chart, and it's literally in the asteroid story says it. This is why the asteroids are worth paying attention to, because if the chart is a coloring book for you to kind of work with, but it's still a bit of a blank page on some level, or it is telling you what the anchor energies that you're feeling and expressing, and it helps you put together the sort of picture of your cosmic DNA, and how it affects your psychology and how to work with it, right? So it is the anchors, it is based. But when you start to work with the asteroids, it really paints a clear picture of a storyline that to me does nothing but completely affirm. You didn't make up the name Talia. It was time to
it totally fucking came to me. I was like crunk at a wedding. But also
your Saturn, which is like basically your work. It's your karma. You're here to work with your Saturn. And it's hard.
I wanted to say that's like, so okay. So the sister thing vibes, the like actually like deeply triggering vibes. Like I know that I've always, even as a child, like deeply trigger her, and it was like scary to like see that. And it's strange to have that much power as a baby, right? But I had that much power.
Scorpio.
So would you say that my role is to bring out that poetress, that singer out of her for her to heal by embracing it?
Yes, because the way that I would read it, and I would love to see your mother's chart, but the way that I would read it is like, because the minion memory asteroid, the mother is with you now. From in this dimension that's going on, you're the mother.
So Talia is the mother of
and she's, the way that is in your chart is like the moon and literally Gaelic poet. Your sister, it's just like, it wasn't cool then, but now Gaelic poet could be cool, like for whatever reason, she has an opposite memory of something, painful. She has her own story, but then you actually, it's also part of why, of all the sisters, she birthed Talia, because comedy is the only thing that, aside from real like therapy, which your child cannot actually do for you, your child can lighten things up.
And she needs it, because I love my dear ma, and she takes everything to the bone. Like, you can't make a joke without a dissection of like what it actually fucking means underneath it. And so the only way that we could like talk about things or open up conversations or or just like not have it be so fucking scary that it's unapproachable. We needed comedy, so it wasn't so fucking scary.
That's what we're doing here.
I love it. My darling, you can hear that, right? They're redoing the bathroom.
Yeah.
Not my bathroom. I would love a redone bathroom. But my dar, I think that is our sign. Is there anything else though? Like I don't want to cut it off too soon. Is there anything else that needs to be elucidated?
There's more that we could get into, but I think that's really like where I will leave you, because it really is quite beautiful, and I think that gives you a lot to like chew on and work with. I would, if you're going to do anything tonight, if it's going to be like relax or whatever, I would like, do a little microdose and just Google, start to dig into these 9 muses story, because it's going to start to, even things that but and I will release the episode later. The moon is sending it to me. She's just putting composite files together.
I love her. She's a perfectionist. She's like tweak, tweak, tweak. I love it.
Well, anyway, she'll be fast tonight. His moon's in Aries, but she it's interesting too, because the fact that Talia came to you through a alter ego live stream in the form of something embarrassing and traumatic that you were complaining about, that we turned into comedy, and then it dawned on the moon like, oh, it's Talia.
Talia, yes.
Talia.
Also, okay, I just pulled the goddess card. I don't know what this means to you. Athena, inner wisdom.
I mean, first of all, low-key, her real name was Athena.
Also, TH.
That's what I'm saying. We're calling her Athena, but you know what? For a while there, she was Athena. But it was like, we can't have her ass-inna. That's ass-inna. So the saved the day. We don't want an ass-inna. Okay?
Yeah, TH is Athena.
But then also, Athena is like the goddess of war. She's the goddess of strategy, of feminine strategy. Athena came and sunned them. They needed Athena in the battles. They needed Athena's mind. They needed her wisdom. They needed her strategy. So it's like Talia Brava is first of all, we now know it's a cosmic strategy. It wasn't actually something that Lucia just like made up and started doing. She was actually following her purpose. And thank God, because she birthed you. And now I feel like now Talia is really in that final phase of the birth canal, where from the time that you invented this character, or this, Lucia invented this character, from now you have not totally been seen, because you couldn't even see yourself. That's why the moon session is so interesting, because it's actually like, no, this deeper look, and thanks to the asteroids, which is why we focus on them, but this deeper look gives you some real context, and it changes a lot of, dude, the fact that Talia is channeled is incredible.
My darling, I love everything. This is the thing about our lives. Half the time I'm like paying attention to like how my filter is like working, because you know how they shift. So I always have to rewatch. Everyone else rewatch too, because boo, like, I'm gonna be real. You're like way smart. You like talk about the stars, and like half the time I don't really fully like digest, right, cutie?
Sorry.
No. Don't be sorry. But this is my Scorpio thing too. I need to like digest and like sit with. When I'm in public, I'm like so about my public persona that I can barely learn, which is why I didn't do well in school, because you're full of cute boys. How am I gonna learn, bitches? So I need to like go to a field and like re-listen and like really take this fully in. But I know and trust that like you've just elucidated so much of my fucking life. That is the word of the day. We're taking it and running with it. And everyone should book a session with you to learn about the asteroids, because I don't know anyone else who's talking about asteroids on a fucking live right now. Who else is doing this shit? No.
Just me. I'm sure there are, but I don't know if anyone's like staying up late. Like I like transferred all of my like boy stalking and like, inappropriate, trying to figure things out about things. I channeled all. You want to know where Talia is in my chart? On my Pluto. So I'm also like using comedy, but really I'm a detective, and I am using comedy to be a detective, but the stars gave me some real detective shit to dig into. And like, I study the stars like there's a crime on Earth, and like we need to know what feminine goddesses are like.
I'm so about it. Okay, but also one more thing is I just want to do like read it for us that like Talia, like having Asteroid Thalia in our chart is the biggest IMDb brag of the century. Fuck having any credits. It's like we're in such good company. I thought Lucille Ball, whatever.
Every famous
all the people.
All the famous comedians have Talia prominent in their chart.
Literally all of them.
Talia is your Saturn, so you're here to work Talia. You're here to be Talia, but more than anything, aside from it being the biggest IMDb credit, it's not even that for anybody else. It's that for you, because you knew that you were Talia, and you've been saying it.
Hey, guess what, Sarah?
Hmm.
You're Sarah motherfucking Starmore.
That's why these are me. These are real.
I also love that the sun is like setting over in Florida. So, what do we need to know? We're all coming to the Moonual. Bitch, I thought it was like 444. I've been telling everyone it's at 444.
It is.
Not.
Well, its doors are at 444, so we can have like a running start, but then at 5 it will begin, and it'll be 2 hours long. We will keep to that boundary.
Cute. I thought it was Pacific time 444. Whatever. I don't care. People like don't. If you're following me for like accurate time readings, like go get a Casio. Bitch.
I literally feel like everybody is doing things so in the moment these days that it's like,
Yeah.
as long as you say it's going to be now, it's today. It's like, I don't even do marketing other than texting people.
Send the email 10 minutes before. Shoot someone a text 30 seconds after it started. That's the timing we're working with.
100%.
I love. Okay, did we see the Kanye thing about how he was like late for becoming president and putting in his bid because of Corona, and he like stumbled. He was clearly lying. He was so cute. He like faked a sick day so that he could excuse himself for being late. I so get that.
Oh my God, that was this dude. When you knew me, when 5th grade, I was literally getting picked up like every 3 days just so my mom and I could go to Bloomingdale's.
Oh, I love your mom. That's such a cute date.
I mean, my moon and Mars are conjunct, so like we do have separation issues, but like, yeah, she's my number one.
Your mom is like, people overuse a hoot and holler. Your mom is a hoot and holler.
But she is the funniest person that's ever lived.
She's fucking hilarious and warm. You got a lot of mom in you, and it's a good thing.
Oh, I know. And here we are in her mom's house, her dead mom's house, who also came to the Moonual. So there will be spirits at the Moonual and spirits. So come hang out.
Grandmas are always with us.
The grandmas are with us. They're making a comeback on Earth. And yeah, we're going to have a great time. It's Sunday so it's 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be so fun. And Talia will be there, and I will be there. And we got Nicole. We have actually Todd. We have a man's going to come to review the show as a man afterwards. Todd,
what a masculine energy. I can already feel that. I'm like,
you're going to love him. You're going to love him.
Okay.
And, who else is on the show? Oh, and Spicy's back. So Spicy went on. She has things to do during the moons. She's like, she can't come to every single moon because she channels, but she's back, and she is a Taurus sun, and this is a Taurus moon. And the last one she did was the Pisces moon, and she's a Pisces moon. So like, she's gonna do some crazy healing herbal witch shit. It's gonna be so good. Just definitely.
Spicy's always just an enigmatic. Like, I'm just like Benjamin Franklin. Like, take us there. I love whenever Spicy's there. She takes.
No, dude. Well, we're gonna have to talk more about it. But like, she's literally George Washington.
George Washington. Oh my God. So sorry, Spicy. George Washington. Okay, Dark. I don't even know the difference. I have to go research that.
Don't research that. Just the muses. Just research the muses.
Okay, cute. That's easier. More fun.
Fathers. Okay.
The boys are boring. They've got bad hair. Okay, I love you. Thank you so much for this. And everyone go book your session with Sarah. What the fuck are you waiting for? Get on it. Bye.
Bye.